Well, our task at the moment is to graph the circle described by the equation x plus 3 quantity squared plus y minus 2 quantity squared equals 16. And we'll label the center and the intercepts. Now keep in mind that the standard equation of a circle has the form x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared, which equals the radius squared. And the beauty of this is that the center is at hk and the radius is r. So what value of x takes this expression to 0? Well, let's set that expression equal to 0 and find out. X minus h equals 0, so x equals h. What value of y sets this expression to 0? Well, we'll set that expression equal to 0 and find out. And solving for y, adding k to both sides, we get y equals k. And we also know that the radius is r. Well, with that in mind, let's analyze the given equation, and that is x plus 3 quantity squared plus y minus 2 quantity squared equals 16. Well, what value of x takes this expression to 0? Well, let's find out. We'll set x plus 3 equals 0, so subtracting 3 from both sides, we get x equals negative 3. Let's find out what value takes this expression to 0. And so we'll set y minus 2 equal to 0 and solve, and adding 2 to both sides, we get y equals 2. So the center is at negative 3, 2. And notice we can do this just by inspection too. We can find that center by inspection. We just ask ourselves, what's the opposite of positive 3? It's negative 3. What's the opposite of negative 2? It's positive 2. Also, the radius equals the square root of 16, which is 4. So from here, we'll graph the circle. So here's our circle. It has a center at negative 3, 2, and a radius of 4. The x-axis is 2 units below the center. The y-axis is 3 units to the right of the center. So we will now find our y-intercepts, and to do that we'll let x equal 0. If x equals 0, we have 0 plus 3 quantity squared equals, plus y minus 2 quantity squared equal to 16. Well, 0 plus 3 is 3, so we have 3 squared plus y minus 2 quantity squared equals 16. That is, we have 9 plus the quantity y minus 2 quantity squared equal to 16. So we want to isolate the term with y in it, so we'll subtract 9 from both sides. And subtracting 9 from the left side, we're left with y minus 2 quantity squared. And subtracting 9 from 16, we have a 7 left. So by the square root property, y minus 2 equals plus or minus the square root of 7. Now we have to isolate y, so we'll add 2 to both sides. So y equals 2 plus or minus root 7. Now these are the y-intercepts. So this y-intercept has the form x-coordinate of 0, y-coordinate of 2 minus root 7. And this y-coordinate has the form x-coordinate of 0 and the y-coordinate of 2 plus root 7. And our next step or process will be to find, or task will be to find the x-intercepts. To find the x-intercepts, we'll let y equals 0 and solve for x. So if y equals 0, we have x plus 3 quantity squared plus 0 minus 2 quantity squared equals 16. That is x plus 3 quantity squared plus, and negative 2 squared is 4, equals 16. So we will isolate the term with x in it. Consequently, we'll subtract 4 from both sides. So we have x plus 3 quantity squared equals, and 16 minus 4 is 12. By the square root property, we get x plus 3 equals plus or minus root of 12. But the square root of 12 corresponds to the square root of 4 times 3, and the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 3 is 3. So we have x plus 3 equal to plus or minus 2 root 3. Now we will isolate x, and to do that we'll subtract 3 from both sides. So we get x minus 3 plus or minus 2 root 3. And these are the x-intercepts. So this x-intercept is negative 3 minus 2 root 3, 0. This x-intercept is negative 3 plus 2, plus 2 root 3, 0. And we are done. We have graphed the circle, we've labeled the intercepts, and we've labeled the center.